They've got unlimited resources targeting Catholics, targeting pro-lifers, targeting those who thought the 2020 election was stolen, targeting virtually everyone who came to protest on January 6th, whether they did something wrong or right. Literally, the FBI was paying people who were, it looks like, based on this IG report, committing crimes. And Chris Wray, that was all on Chris Wray's watch. More good news is the resignation of FBI Director Christopher Wray. He announced earlier this week that he's going to resign before Trump comes into office, which to me is a startling admission, cowardly really, that his work is political, that he wasn't engaged in neutral application and the fair administration of justice. Just like Jack Smith, he's going to run from office prior to Trump coming into office because he doesn't want to be held fully accountable and potentially fired. If if Chris Wray was on the up and up, he'd say, well, I'm going to talk to the president when he comes into office and make the case as to why he should continue to keep me and let the chips fall where they may. Nope, but instead he's just going to quit and deny President Trump the accountability that would come from a direct firing. Chris Wray's FBI is a disaster. He's done nothing to fix the FBI, as far as I'm concerned, after Comey's disastrous FBI directorship, which was criminal in nature. And Wray did nothing to hold FBI agents accountable. The Justice Department did nothing. The Justice Department, by the way, is the agency in which the FBI resides. They're not separate agencies. One's a subset of the other. I mean, Wray's FBI raided Trump's home. I mean, I was on Fox the other day talking about it. No wonder Wray quit. The problem that Christopher Wray has is that he raided Trump's home. Yeah. His agents raided Trump's home. Yeah. And he knew, or should have known, there was no good faith-based reason to target Trump, let alone raid his home. I don't even know how he could look him in the eye, let alone expect to remain as FBI director, just under those narrow sets of circumstances. And as far as I'm concerned, if the FBI is able to, at the point of the Trump administration should be, in large measure, to make sure that the FBI, to the degree it remains, can't ever do to someone else what they did to Trump.
I think that's fair.
And then Trump had this to say about Wray shortly before Wray announced his resignation.
Are you going to fire the current FBI Director Christopher Wray, who you appointed?
Well, I can't say I'm thrilled with him. He invaded my home. I'm suing the country over it. He invaded Mar-a-Lago. I'm very unhappy with the things he's done. And crime is at an all-time high. Migrants are pouring into the country that are from prisons and from mental institutions, as we've discussed. I can't say I'm thrilled. I don't want to be Joe Biden and give you an answer and then do the exact opposite.
We're going to talk about
So
that,
I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to say is I certainly cannot be happy with him. You take a look at what's happened. And then when I was shot in the ear, he said, oh, maybe it was shrapnel. Where's the shrapnel coming from? Is it coming from heaven? I don't think so. So we need somebody to straighten. You know, I have a lot of respect for the FBI, but the FBI's respect has gone way down over the last number of years.
Don't you have to fire him in order to make room for Kash Patel if he is, in fact, confirmed?
Well, I mean, it would sort of seem pretty obvious that if Kash gets in, he's going to be taking somebody's place, right? And somebody is the man that you're talking about.
Well, Wray's gone, or will be gone. And this is the statement I issued for Judicial Watch upon his resignation. Wray's resignation is a good first step to cleaning house at the FBI. Under Wray's leadership, the FBI has become an enemy of transparency, the rule of law, constitutional government, and the civil rights of tens of millions of Americans. Judicial Watch and I witnessed firsthand the corruption of Wray's operation when FBI agents came to my home in what was an obvious retaliation for a criticism and lawsuits exposing their abuses. The FBI is irredeemably corrupt, from sitting on Hunter Biden's laptop in order to influence the 2020 election, the raid of President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home, the censorship of Americans, to the targeting of traditional Catholics. The FBI has been turned into the political police for partisan leftists. Accordingly, Wray should be subject to criminal investigation. And as sunlight is the best disinfectant, President Trump and his FBI director nominee Kash Patel, presuming he gets approved, and I think he will, should open wide the FBI files on its abuses of power targeting Trump and countless other American citizens. In the meantime, Judicial Watch will continue to investigate and sue the FBI for its truth, as I note, in the worst government corruption scandal in American history, which is the improper targeting of President Trump and other American citizens over the last several years. And Judicial Watch is the leader in providing oversight of the FBI, and I don't say that lightly. We do better oversight than Congress has, than this IG Inspector General has, than the media have. I mean, just recent disclosures and activity by the Judicial Watch in terms of our overwatch of the FBI include, just last month, we sued the Justice Department for messages among top leaders of the FBI referencing the social media posts of the agent charged with investigating Trump's assassination. It looks like they were trying to scrub his posts because he was posting anti-Trump crap on all over social media. They wanted to cover it up. We uncovered the recording of a phone message left by an FBI special agent colluding with the Secret Service on the raid of Mar-a-Lago. And maybe subsequent activity, I don't know. The FBI opened a criminal investigation of Ashley Babbitt, our client. We're representing her estate, her widow, Aaron Babbitt. They investigated her after she was killed, listing 4 potential violations of federal law. They were investigating a dead person. Why? To find dirt on her to justify her unlawful killing. We had to sue for records of communications between the FBI and social media sites regarding foreign influence in elections, because the FBI was using that as an excuse to cajole social media companies to censor American citizens, which they did just before the election in 2020. Remember that Hunter laptop story? Suppressed through the FBI. Judicial Watch and our partners at Catholic Vote received FBI records showing top officials rushing to craft a public response to the leaked material that the FBI was targeting Catholics, targeting parishes and churches, the pews of our churches. And of course, we fought separately for records about the illicit raid of Trump's home, Mar-a-Lago. I mean, not to mention all the work we've done with the FBI and its targeting of Trump, over Russia. I mean, right now we're still in court against the FBI for text messages of the anti-Trump FBI agents, Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. They're still stalling. It's 4 years. Wray's been a disaster in terms of ethics and transparency at the FBI. And I say this 20% jokingly. I don't know if the FBI can be saved or should be saved. I mean, to me, the question should be, is Kash Patel going to be the last FBI director? Do we need a successor agency, a pared-down version of the FBI? I'm not convinced that the FBI can be rescued. I think the Justice Department, we're probably always going to have a Justice Department. I mean, we certainly need a slimmed-down version of it, one that's policed by honest and ethical people. In the FBI, I don't trust the FBI. as far as I could throw it. I don't. I mean, Chris Wray's FBI happily worked with the Biden administration to target Trump supporters on January 6th. Nothing like it ever done by the FBI before. Raided the home of Trump. Previously, they were spying. It was just further reported and reconfirmed that they were spying on members of Congress and their staff who were critical of the FBI and their abuses. There's been virtually no accountability for the FISA abuses, the secret spying on Trump. The one FBI guy was targeted by Durham, Do Nothing Durham, and he got a slap on the wrist. So good riddance to Wray, but it's just, as I said, the first step in accountability. There's a lot more that needs to be done to restore, if it can be, the fair administration of justice to the FBI. And it's still a disaster. I mean, there's a story today about Luigi Mangione being ID'd by San Francisco police days before he was picked up. A San Francisco detective, according to the San Francisco Chronicle, the family of Mangione had placed a missing persons report. So it was in his mind, right? Because he had just gotten a report a few days or, shortly before his name or his image started popping up as being, when the NYPD started releasing pictures of him. And he said, I recognize this guy. This is the kid I'm looking for. And he called the FBI. He gave a tip to the FBI. No record of it. They didn't do anything with it. Now the FBI is saying, well, maybe it went to the wrong. Just more excuse making. I mean, the FBI doesn't do its basic work. It doesn't do it well. Yet they've got unlimited resources targeting Catholics, targeting pro-lifers, targeting those who thought the 2020 election was stolen, targeting virtually everyone who came to protest on January 6th, whether they did something wrong or right. Literally, the FBI was paying people who were, it looks like, based on this IG report, committing crimes. And Chris Wray, that was all on Chris Wray's watch. So the real scandal is that Wray hasn't resigned yet or has been forced out yet. Congress could have done something. They could have said, you know what, FBI funding is contingent on new leadership. We're not giving a dime to the FBI unless there's new leadership. They didn't want to do that, though. But the American people spoke, and they wanted a new FBI director, and they knew that was in the offing when they voted Trump into office. And I praise Kash Patel. He is an American hero, and I think he's going to make an excellent FBI director. And it's going to be, no one's perfect, obviously, but light years beyond what we've been suffering through the last 2 decades of the DC corrupt culture clash, culture class, what they think is what makes an FBI director good. No more. We need activists like Kash Patel. And I'm looking forward to his being FBI director. I want to talk about Chris Wray again, by the way. We know Chris Wray is corrupt because his FBI agents came to our home, came to my home. And yeah, I'm still outraged about it. And here's a little clip of a speech I gave to CPAC recently on it.
Not too long ago, I had a significant skin cancer surgery. And a few hours after I got home, I'm on the couch recovering when the FBI came knocking on my door with a grand jury subpoena from the Biden DOJ. I ended up being hassled and abused by the special counsel team for 4 hours over Trump documents, my First Amendment rights, and what I had for lunch with President Trump. It was a partisan fishing expedition. Frankly, it was like having to spend a day on an MSNBC panel. But I knew why they brought me before that grand jury. It was payback and intimidation for daring to defend Trump against their abuse of power.
That was what I know to be Chris Wray's FBI. I'm the head of Judicial Watch, America's preeminent watchdog organization, the most important group, I dare say, in the country when it comes to government activity, combating government corruption. And for our pains, we get harassed by the FBI under that man's leadership. Inexcusable. I know Trump wants justice. I know other American citizens want justice over these abuses. I want justice, and Judicial Watch wants justice as well, because we've been abused and harassed. And if we've been abused and harassed, that means you've been abused and harassed if you're our supporter, because our work's been impaired by that corruption. So yeah, I'm happy to see Wray go, but I tell you, he still needs to be investigated for what he did. So that was I wanted to get that in there. And despite what it looks like, I didn't break the podium in my speech. I looked angry enough to break it, but I wasn't. I'm very, very soft-hearted in the end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.